Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat, and welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. Thank you for tuning into this extra special time on a Wednesday, a little early. I got a dentist appointment at 4, so I can't do the normal time. And tomorrow's Independence Day, and you know what? I think everyone should have that off. So we're going to be diving back into some Castlevania tonight, today. I'm excited about that. We'll finally be able to I think get to the second part of the game. So, it's only taken a couple streams. Before we get started, I want to shout out a new piece of set dressing. He is shaped like a friend. He carries a cross. We love him. He's great. He showed up yesterday in the mail, and I'm so happy about it. Let's dive into the game. Hello? There we go. Pollo! Pollo indeed. And now that I have a pop filter, I can say that a little more freely. Meep. Run, Meep, run! Okay, so we need to go to the right. Because we have the power of echolocation now as a bat. Ow. I also want to try and get a clock as a sub-weapon. Like, I know I like the Bible, but if we're going to head back to the clock tower... having a clock would really come in handy. Stupid gremlins! Don't you have planes to go sit on the wings of? Let him forgive you for you have sinned? Well, I forgive you in my heart, but I can't actually give absolution over the internet. Oh, look, a clock. That's something you gotta do in person. They only sat in the planes if Shatner is seated inside. Yeah, that's one of Shatner's first acting roles, was playing a random dude in an episode of Twilight Zone. This is exactly how echolocation works. Karma coins, cross shurikens? What is this? Trying to get me ready for a boss battle or something? Spike breaker! Let's go! Oh, hey, it's just better. You really need to replay this game? Everyone needs to replay this game. It's great. Controls great, looks great, sounds great. Like, both the soundtrack and the Foley are really well done. Stir potion. Cool. Behold the power of Spike Breaker. It is a little weird watching you play it. Is it just weird because watching me play any game is weird, or this one in particular? Or is this like a FOMO thing? This one in particular because you played it very differently moment to moment compared to others I have watched. What do you mean I've played it different? I mean, I'm probably playing it worse. Like, I'll grant that. Run! Run! Yeah, this way to the teleporter. Not worse. You die about as often as most players. It's hard to describe, really. Yeah, that sounds like me sometimes. Okay, so where we head now, we would need to head to the left side of the castle. Because there's a barrier over there with the other ring. Is that faster or is that slower? Guess it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. I was thinking I had the high jump for some reason. Your ceiling spikes mean nothing to me. May as well do a little exploring while we're here. Oh, hey. That's neato keen. Does the movie The Velociraptor provide an accurate portrayal of what would happen if a priest turned into a dinosaur? I think in as much as any movie can provide an accurate accurate description. I have not seen Velocipastor, but part of me really wants to see it because it just looks so ridiculous. It's just like, who greenlit this? Like, who read this script and said, yes, I will put money into this? And I know it's not from a great studio or anything, but still. Maybe that should be my talk at, oh, whoops. Should be my talk at Doxicon. What it's like being a Velocipastor. Is it an asylum joint? Yeah, I think it... They've never lost money on a film? Well, that implies that they spend money on films. Because if you spend nothing and at least one person buys it... You stupid crow! Black crow, as opposed to, you know, the mauve kind. Wait, did I already have a werebane? I did. I have 2 of them now. Out of my way! Maria!
Alucard, have you seen Richter?
Nope.
There is a Belmont here. You were right about that.
I knew it! Where is he?
Low parental figure.
The one I saw was with the enemy.
Hey, clutch.
He called himself the Lord
I suppose I've been
of
called
this
worse.
castle.
What? That's impossible.
That's
You're
impossible.
wrong. I have to go.
Dad, I'm rooting your castle. Just letting you know. Okay, where's the clock tower relative to here? It looks like... does that connect through the way I want? No, that does not connect. I need to go down and to the left to get there. Just avoid the sword, dude. So you saw a portrait of her. You were following her, so you can take care of the Belmont. When did I see a portrait of her? I'm not really following her. We just kind of keep running into each other. I've got your picture. I'm coming with you, dear Maria. Count me in. Did you just do that for a dear Maria, count me in reference? I mean, I respect it. Yes, fair. I have to kill Dracula. I want to behead Dracula. I want to stab Dracula. Definitely not a maniac. Well, I mean... family issues are often complicated. Also good to see you, Map Hack. Oh look, I got Magic Missile. I can attack the darkness. Does this sub-badge mean that I'm a priest since I got the collar? You are an honorary priest. I mean, you are a priest by virtue of your baptism. Right, different priesthood, though. Yeah. I think just having this individual collar next to your name just indicates how much you stan priests. Maybe, and hear me out. The real priests are the friends we made along the way. Thanks, Melchizedek. That's a collar? I thought it was a mushroom. It does kind of look like a mushroom because of the way I grayed out part of it, but yeah, no, it is in fact supposed to be a collar. Because it matches the collar emote. It's a mushroom collar? No. That is too cursed. I have an image in mind for what I want to make the channel points. I want to call them the collar tabs, like these things that actually fit in. But I am so bad at drawing. I need someone to take the image I have in mind and like trace and color it, so that I'm not just stealing an image from a clergy's apparel store. Meep. Hello, Meep. Ah, you have found Swoliel. Swoliel and Meep will protect me in this journey. I'm sure Yenza could be commissioned within the next 14 calendar months. I mean, yes. I don't know. I also have interns. I could probably just eventually... I just need to figure out if one of the interns does graphic design at all. I've had interns design other emotes, so... Insurance is not the first thing I think of when insurance? No, interns. What? Insurance? I'm confused. Insurance agent graphic design is my passion. Ooh. With a frog and Comic Sans. Oh, you thought I said insurance? No, no, no. Interns. If you said intern, for sure did not sound like it. That's fair. Haha! Open this secret path for me. Oh boy, the Alucard shield. Wait, that's not my name. Alucard mail, Alucard sword? So these are not good. They're knockoffs. But what's funny is if you actually wear all of them, your luck goes way up. Thought you're just bragging about being able to see a doctor. I mean, I do have really good insurance. Have I thought about playing the DMC series? You know, I never have. Are those rated M or teen? I love all my children, especially it looks at smudged writing on hand. Alucard. Yeah, that tracks. Obtained gravity boots. Now I can jump really high. Apparently, if you wear all the Alucard armor, your changes on the name screen. That is great. Anyway, let's do the thing. Silver ring. Gold ring. Now I can antagonize the librarian for free stuff. What do you mean now? Rated M. Yeah. I wasn't counting. What was that? Like 7 times? Yeah, I know to go to the room below. I'm giving you hard time, step 0. It's surprisingly better overall than I thought it would be for a series based on someone who's a half demon. That's fair. I mostly know it because of memes at this point. XYZ Demon woke up to justice! It's very Japan. Yeah, that tracks. Giant ominous box in the middle of Dracula's castle. I'm sure this is perfectly normal.
Alucard?
That voice. Maria?
I'm sorry. You were right. He is with the enemy.
Richter Belmont, in league with Dracula.
He must be under someone else's control. We can't hurt him, whatever we do.
Well, I won't go that
But
far.
he must be stopped.
Yes, but can you? Then for all our sakes, show me that you will.
Ow! That was cheating! Just throwing something immediately after a cutscene like that. Ow! Maria! How is this supposed to prove anything? Why don't you stop him? We can non-grievously wound him, exactly.
You're stronger than I am. You can save Richter. Will you? Please?
I can't promise that, but I will stop him.
If it must be that way. Here, I found these. Take them.
Holy
And
glasses.
these are?
I use them to read the
If you wear
gospel.
them, you can see beyond illusions.
Thank you. I go to find Richter. Stay and pray for him.
Okay, we don't need these equipped anymore. Ring of Pails. Moonstone. Stay here. No, bad map hack. That's not me talking, that's Alucard. In his defense, he's from like 1500. Yeah, I think this game is set in like... Oh, when is this game set? Alucard's voice actor doesn't seem overly enthusiastic with his job. I mean, he's a vampire, half vampire. Dampire, as they call him, or something like that. He must sound uninterested. Repentant or heroic demons and half-demons are a long storied history in fiction. Hellboy, Nightcrawler, Pretty Poison. One of these things is not like the other in that list of names. So I'm saying step 0. Best way to get to where we want to go is honestly through the clock tower, I think. You should check out Amazing Screw-On Head. It's done by the same team that did Hellboy. Like the comics or whatever. It has all of one episode, which is a shame that it didn't get more. But I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube. Do you mind if I say poppycock? I don't mind. Go ahead. Say it. Poppycock. Great dialogue. Ow, I thought I scooted away. Or you can borrow Gale's DVD. I don't know if Gale will lend out his DVD to just anyone in chat. It's brilliant, but he never expanded upon it. And honestly, I think it's better for that. I'm Matt Pack. I'm not anyone in just anyone in chat. Yeah, that might be the problem. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. For better and worse. Truth in advertising. Okay, let's go bug the librarian. Plus, buy and sell some things. We've lent our DVDs to less trustworthy people than internet strangers. Fair dinkum. What's my favorite broken endgame in this weapon instant? I don't really remember what they are, to be honest. I remember watching Vinesauce do a randomizer and get like one of the most powerful swords from like the first lantern. It's a shame that she couldn't take the DVD with her. I think the fellow nuns in the convent would like watching The Office. Yeah, sorry about slamming into your chair from below, but, you know,
Thank you.
we live here now.
How about this?
Ooh, diamond plate's pretty good. Can barely afford it. Justice Cloak is good, but way too expensive. I don't have enough for that. Yeah, let's... do I want to buy the scroll? Probably not. I think I want to buy the diamond plate.
Thank you.
Rotida! Okay, I have an extra special Rotida prepared for today because today is the Feast of St. Thomas the Apostle. I really dig St. Thomas. Apostle of India, sometimes known as the Doubter, known as the Twin. I kind of want to touch on those first. So first of all, he often gets called the Doubter, which I don't think is very fair to him because he wasn't really doubting the resurrection. He was just saying, there's a lot been going on. Yeah, like, let's face it, like, we probably all would have reacted the same way. He's not asking in a way that's like, I doubt this and you're all lying. It's a way of saying, look, help me on this journey, because, like, this is a bit too much to take in right now. So he really is Thomas the Believer. But his name, Thomas, itself means twin, and he's sometimes referred to as Didymus, which is Greek for twin. So his name is literally Twin. Now, obviously, twins were not terribly common in the ancient Near East. You know, high mortality, infant rates, and all that. And so twin was generally used in literature of the time to refer to someone who's almost like a mirror, a parallel. So he is, particularly in the Gospel of John, meant to be seen as like a mirror of Jesus and mirror his presence and continue to mirror his presence and be that which we want to be. So, twin, the twin, exactly. And then lastly, he went to... Tradition has it that he went to India, and I don't have any reason to doubt this because when the Portuguese first arrived in India, they found Christians there, and the Christians of the area were like, "Oh my gosh, other Christians! This is amazing!" And they talked about how, you know, Thomas first preached to them, and that's what they've inherited. Portugal mentioned indeed. However, sadly, the Portuguese did not treat them great. I've had disagreement over his most famous narrative with some friends. Well, that's fair. It's a complicated one. Portugal unmentioned. It's all good. No nation is perfect. Okay, so... Oh, wait. Holy glasses! Hey, slightly lowers my defense, but ups my intelligence. Great. I have all the colonizers who weren't that bad. That's fair. I can't believe you said that on America's birthday eve. America has done some things that are really not... that I would say are heavily marred by sin.
I've been waiting for you.
Answer me. Why is a Belmont planning to resurrect Count Dracula?
Dracula rises once a century. One chance for each Belmont to shine.
Speaking heavily marred by sin. Hey, Richter.
If I bring him back now, the battle can last for eternity.
You have lost your way. So be it, vampire hunter. Let your battle begin.
Does
with
it count
me.
as sin if you are mind controlled? An orb? That wasn't there before. Quick, attack the orb. No, leave... Richter, let me attack your orb. I need to ponder this orb. So, it's actually really interesting that you bring up the state of the,
How inconvenient.
Hi, Shaft.
But we've only just begun. The Master's ascension is at hand.
Watergate is a reason to believe in the resurrection? I don't even know how you get there. This was so cool in 1996 or whatever when this came out. Second castle, but upside down. America's so sinful. Why do some megachurches have July 4th as your biggest feast day? Oh, son. I got some bad news about you and megachurches.
No! What have I done?
He once
You
tried
saved
3D
him,
printing the
Alucard.
castle and the inverted
Thank you
castle as a
so
single
much.
piece. Yeah, I think you should just print 2
Alucard.
castles.
The Alucard? You can't be. That was over 300 years ago.
Never mind that. Is the man who controlled you in that castle?
Yes, I think so.
Maria, take Richter and leave here. I'll finish this.
All right. Good luck.
probably why I'm not that clever. I think the problem is I think you're trying to be too clever. But it's interesting, Subzero, that you bring up the thought about, like, what were the wounds? Like, was it miraculously a continuous wound? Was it scar? And we don't really know. Like, fact of the matter is, we don't have a detailed description of exactly what it is from any of the Gospels. We know the wounds were still there. But what that means, there's been a lot of mystical reflection on that throughout the ages. Regarding what our bodies will be like in the resurrection. Like, what age will our bodies be? What ability, level of ability, what scars will be there? You know, obviously the presence of the scars or the wounds was also a sign of the resurrection, or that it is the same Christ, the same body. So that was important. But yeah, there are many reflections. Thomas Aquinas, a different Thomas, believed that we would all be 33 in the resurrection because that's the age of that Jesus was. So, you know, just think of who you were at 33 or will be at 33, and, well, that's who you'll be for eternity. Yes, because in the resurrection he had 12 desert people preaching for 40 years, being tortured, outcast, and killed. Never once denied resurrection. Watergate had 12 super powerful, important, educated, trained people that didn't last 3 weeks with a lie. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm gonna have an 18-pack in heaven. I don't know if it quite works that way, but you know, if that makes you sleep at night. So I think this is a brilliant use of game design. Like, obviously, yeah, there's like it's easy on assets to double the length of something. But just like they had to design, also alas poor Yorick, they had to design every room with it being flipped in mind. It keeps you up at night. How am I gonna deal with that additional abdominal muscle? Fear not, for the Lord is with ye. The Lord of Gains. He was a fellow of Infinite Jest. Keep hearing you should read Infinite Jest. That was not promising. I have a lot of other book recommendations before Infinite Jest. Boss fight! Darkwing Bat. I thought it was Duck. Wasn't it Darkwing Duck? You should add me on Goodreads if you have an account. You know, I do, and I haven't touched it in years. Yes, in Prime continuity, Darkwing Bat is from an Elseworld comics popular in Italy. Okay, sure, yep. I don't know what I expected. Someone at church convinced you to look at your Goodreads account for the first time since 2017. Well, good on them for convincing you. I'm not exactly an avid user of it. Yeah. Yeah, neither am I. I tried it and I'm just like, nah. I'm just gonna go read more Kurt Vonnegut anyway. I only use it because I'm connected with your Kindle. Yeah, I never did that with my Kindle. And then sometimes my Kindle also just goes months without being powered on. Good source for Neopulp? I've been reading Who Plugged Roger Rabbit recently, which is a delightfully quirky noir parody. If it's synced with Audible, that would be good. But would that truly be good reads, or would that be good listens? Fixes hair, his skin sparkles in the sunlight of a rare sunny day in Washington. A look of pain and confusion forever stuck. I'm a vampire. Do you sparkle? Are you a Twilight vampire? Also good to see young Blake. Damper? I hardly get stabbed through the heart with a stake. Yeah, that's... That's about right. I'm stuck! I'm stuck! Get me out of here! I hate the clock tower and all of its renditions. Still terrible. You, sir, are a jerk. And then the fact that 50 Shades of Grey is brought on is because it's probably absurd proof that we live in a world with the worst timeline. I don't know if we live in the worst timeline. I just think it proves that we live in a world with sin. But then again, fan fiction does that in general. The timeline changes in 2016. Sparkly Mormon Vampires. That's a good band name. Until the timeline split because some people remember Berenstain. Here's my hot take. Neither of those are real. Bears never existed. You need to wake up from the coma. I am getting injured a lot, but not by a lot. Dragon Helm! Frightens enemy, lowers defense. I don't know, it seems to up my defense and strength just fine. They split with the wrong page. Again, all the weird takes in chat today. I dig it. Learning new Earth lore? What about new Mars lore? I feel like I'm learning forbidden knowledge and the CIA is going to come after me now. Mars hasn't had a lore update in centuries. That's what you think. Itty bitty platform to go teleporting with. Apparently the frying effects from the dragon helm is cutting enemy defense in half. Oh yeah, let's go. I thought it was just goofs. Okay, you guys, might have to ask you to calm down a bit. Get a little weird in chat there. Anyway, look at this enemy. Its name is Shmoo. No worries, we just figured out the lore. Okay. Shmoo, more like dead. Got him. Oh yeah, this area is full of enemies representing the lion, the scarecrow, and the Tin Man. For some reason, this is Wonderland. Imagine showing up to like a history conference and just being like, "Can we talk about Earth lore?" Ooh, did new Earth lore drop? Library cards when you realize the teleporter that you took is not two-way, yeah. Yeah, the legs are back and forth and the arm is not. Arms don't work that way. But you don't run like this? Don't be hating just because Alucard's styling on you. He's a train. No, I run correctly. Bad Roxy has redeemed a father joke. So I was talking to someone recently, a neutron bomb. I just got a neutron bomb. That's, just casually like you do. I was talking to someone about some music taste recently and some classic rock, and they were like, "Oh, can you give me some recommendations?" I said, "Sure. I'd recommend starting with Led Zeppelin." And they said, "Who?" "Yeah, they're good too." I regret joining the stream today. I regret joining the stream every day, but... No, I kid. I was talking to someone about music taste and asked me if mayonnaise is an instrument. You met Patrick Starr? Oh yeah, we remember the Tin Man having a machine gun mounted inside its chest. Fun fact for those who don't know, your arms and legs work the same way, albeit flipped and mirrored axis. Tin Man would go brrr. Bro chip, the phrase, bread for the bread god does not belong in any sort of Eucharistic prayer or in Afra. No, it does not. It sounds like you have made an attempt and failed. I'm already too powerful. It cannot be stopped. Yeah. That tracks. I, for one, welcome our new map hack overlords. But blood for the blood god belongs to the heretics and the chaotic beings. I must smite them for the Emperor. I am the Emperor's spear. I'm the Emperor's spleen. That's right, I play guard. Starolite. What did I just pick up? Strengthens power of cross. Oh, okay, cool. Twitch, I am kidding. I am kidding. Reported? Posting a sick guard build video in your Discord? Okay. Because the guardsmen are totally informed on everything that's going on and, a source of wisdom. I don't play guardsmen because they're intelligent. I play guardsmen because there's lots of them. Best way to stop a meat grinder is to just jam it full of things. Starlight has a crystal structure that forms into crosses. Interesting. Schmoo! Like meat? Exactly. Too much meat and the meat grinder won't work. Tears of the fair folk present at the crucifixion. Oh, that's kind of beautiful. It's kind of like how there's a tradition that the crucifix was made from dogwood, and God cursed dogwood trees to be all twisty and bendy so they could never be used to make a crucifix again. And why they have their flowers have 5 petals to represent the 5 wounds of Christ. And are the color they are. Shmoo! Well, it's a pious tradition. I don't think it's meant to be taken quite literally. I dare say even probably when it started in the medieval era, it wasn't fully understood as a literal example, but a nice reflection. Just got a gauntlet. Attack up by 5. Yeah. All my other stuff already does that. Call me cringe, but regular dude who is able to keep up with forces beyond his reckoning by sheer force of will and determination is your favorite kind of fiction? No, you're allowed. May I ask, the diecast for Divine Worship says that the introduction of a Song of Peace is an abuse during the Sign of Peace. Is a Song of Peace any chant, or is that a specific thing? Huh. I guess that's probably just any song that you tried to play during the Sign of Peace. I've never heard of that, but I'm also not surprised that people have tried that. People really do be trying crazy things sometimes in the liturgy. Why does the game sound like a Geiger counter? Because the bones that those dudes are throwing are getting caught in a corner and rapidly bouncing. I'm asking since that's your choir's plan and I'm not feeling it. Oof. Well. Hey, Joshua Mary! Welcome, come on in. I mean, I would ultimately say, first and foremost, just talk to your choir director about it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It will not make the Eucharist null and void. How did the drawing go, Joshua? But, you know, if you're not feeling it, like, you don't have to sing it. You know, be Eucharist this Saturday. This is why I chant during the Sign of Peace. Okay, so that's different. If it's not a mass, you could make an argument for why that's okay. I still think it's kind of weird, but, you know, if it's not mass, the rules do get different. So if I made 3 drawings, couldn't accomplish what I was trying to do. Hey, that's okay. I hope you learn things to help you work towards it. What you're trying to do. Glad to help you, Clutch. Think I accomplished making creepy art? Nice. The world needs creepy art, I guess. Low quality creepy art is your thing. There you go. Everybody's got a thing. Did I pick up anything? Not really. From the Steam Summer Sale. Nothing on my wish... There was one thing I picked up on my wish list. Because it was like $1, and I had the money in my Steam account from selling the trading cards. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick this up. But nothing really, like, sung to me in a way that it's like, I must have this now. I have enough of a backlog. Get Doom 93, nice. Now you can run it on anything. Can Doom run on Doom? Oh, I forgot about these floor things. They are a problem. They do a lot of damage. Can Doom run Crisis? I'm having a crisis of doom. Also got Condemned Criminal Origins, Ion Fury, Atom RPG, and Wasteland Remastered. Sounds like a nice haul. Ow. Just trying to jump over that. Can I play Doom in heaven? I sure hope so. That's all I've got. What's a theoretical setup? Run Doom inside Dungeons & Dragons using basic undead as binary inputs. That is nuts. The refresh rate's gotta be terrible, though. If God has computers in heaven, he probably has the best specs. Yeah. Diamond! Said that really weird. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe there's no need for computers. Maybe I can imagine myself playing a game and boom. What if you are the computer? Quick, someone call Peter. These balloon pods are everywhere. Tell him to come get his Mr. Balloons. I'm too crazy for conspiracy theories. I mean, if you're just having a little fun. I think it's fine. God has a sense of humor. Oh, got a lurk. Hey, thanks for the lurk. Some dudes in suits are at my door saying, come with us, and you've said too much, yada yada. Well, you know, best of luck. Keep warm and well fed. Come on. There we go. I don't think he'll be back. That's just me. Yeah, speaking of conspiracy theories, actually, X would be really handy here. I hate these balloon pods, by the way. They're some of my least favorite enemies in Castlevania. Too late, I explained I was just informing my buddy Matt Pack, who goes too. Redacted. Well, it's been nice knowing you, Matt Pack. I thought you were my imp. You little liar. What color suits are they wearing? Are they checkerboard? They might just be asking you to pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I can see the snipers getting into position. Well, ripping pepperonis. Truly, Matt Pack was the person of all time. Why did I start stream early today? Because I have a dentist appointment at 4. So I can't finish stream at the normal time and go to my dentist's at the same time. Am I right exploring right now? Yeah, basically. Like, at this point in the Upside Down Castle, what I need to do is I need to find the 5 relics of Dracula. Because apparently he's just scattered body parts of himself around his own house. My dad is weird, apparently. And the best way for me to do that is just to look around. And I got to watch Bluey last time I went to the dentist. Huh. I'm pretty sure if I showed up with my headphones, my dentist wouldn't mind if I just listened to music. They might even have headphones, I don't know. They've got nice dental hygienists, though, so I don't mind talking to them. The dentist, a fate worse than death. It's not that bad. I went to the dentist for the first time in many years. Yet, if you don't go for a while, it's bad. I made that mistake once. Just getting all the levels up. It sounds like you need a new dentist. Hey, Mazokman. Good to see you. How's the new job? I imagine you're probably kind of busy this week. The gingivitis didn't help. I mean, it never does. Went through orientation course yesterday, a lot to absorb. Yeah, orientation is always that way. I have never seen that attack in my life. But speaking of things historical, Mesozoic mind, I get to march in a parade tomorrow. I'll be marching with the Sons of the American Revolution for the Lower Manhattan Historical Association Parade. I'll be holding a Betsy Ross flag, apparently. For now, you'll be working weekends? Hey, there you go. Saint Apollonia for Mapax Dentist. Is that the patron saint of dentists? Is that one of the 14 holy helpers? I can never remember who all of the 14 holy helpers are. Yes! Oh, okay. February 9th. Yeah, so the 14 holy helpers are 14 particular saints, and there's a little bit of wiggle room who's on the list, depending where you are regionally. But there's usually like a core amount, but it's always 14. But it's saints that were invoked, particularly who all had like patronage of health in some way, and were invoked together against the plague in particular. Can get a new dentist soon. Nice. The cave trolls are chupacabra in Japanese. Another mimic? Well, we've already dunked on one doppelganger. This doppelganger 40! Ow, that hurt. Why do you get multiple sub-weapons? I only get one. Oh, she's not part of the list? Oh, okay. Virgin Martyr of Alexandria. That makes sense with the name. He's got the coin from Ultra Kill. Ow. He stoned me. I'm not St. Stephen. Ooh, get out of here. Use a high potion really quickly. I said use a high potion. Don't expect a weak foe. Therefore, time for introspection. Nope. Seems like you're tanking a lot of hits. Yeah, that's how I play. Ow. That was rude and uncalled for. My doppelganger. Got him. Well, no matter what, we could say Alucard won. Most important HP is the last one. Yeah? As I say in the realm of magic, winning on 20 is the same as winning on 1. You. There's so many of them, and they're so gross. Darkblade. Ooh, that's actually quite more powerful. do not feel like fighting all of these. All that for a pot roast. Would you go that far for a pot roast? So probably save and then go to the right. The Dark Blade has a different name in Japan. A lot of these things do have different names in Japan, but what different name does it have? Glamdring? Glamdring is the Dark Blade? I don't think that tracks. Isn't whose sword is Glamdring? Isn't that? Is that Gandalf's sword? It's someone's sword in Lord of the Rings. The Dark Blade is Brisingar. Hmm. I'm gonna take the hobbits to Isengard myself. It is Gandalf's. Okay. I wonder why they didn't call it Glamdring in English. Yeah, it's nice that these skeletons, you know, considering this game is set in, like, 17-something, that, you know, modern American currency exists. To Isengard! What did you say? The hobbits are coming to my local con. That's cool. Tolkien is very under copyright. Oh, interesting. Ow, that rock hurt. Ow! Excuse me. Get dunked on, weird plant lady. So it's between hearts and HP? Yeah, as Sub-Zero said, HP is hit points. Hearts are ammo, essentially, for your sub-weapons. Go ask your Eru Iluvatar. Burp. I thought I got stuck there for a moment. I was legitimately worried. Okay, so that's another area. You know, actually, that's not a bad place to go, because the catacombs is a dead end. We're kind of doing a big loop around the outer edge of the castle, which will let us draw in the center later, I guess. Excuse me, you guys were just a boss not that long ago. One of the strangest things I ever had a preacher say. Maybe surprised I found Christian themes in Lord of the Rings. Well, there's a tweet going around of some being like, Lord of the Rings is not a Christian book. It's a pagan book. And it's like, okay. They are getting thoroughly roasted on Twitter and the community notes. Back from my car. Forgot where I went, but I forgot why I went in there. But it was hot. I guess I thought of grabbing food. Oh, did the nice men in the dark suits let you go? Did they feed you? No, my dude. I would be more surprised if you didn't find Christian themes in a very Catholic book by a very Catholic Tolkien. Yeah. The tweet I've seen is, how come I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter at my Christian school, but Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia were okay? Ay, bendita. I don't remember who it is, but I just remember someone singing it.
So you've made it this far. In the name of your father, cease this foolishness.
Not while there is breath in my body.
Then, for the master, I'll feast on your soul this night.
No, you won't. Because you're not even the most ridiculous death fight there is in the Castlevania game. Mecha Death. Mecha Death versus Godzilla, coming to theaters this fall. Eye of Vlad. There are so many interesting interpretations. So we have our first body part of our dad. Oh, we also have the ring. When did we get the ring? I do not remember getting the ring. And yes, the ring is a body part.
There's a switch. Perhaps I should press it.
Yeah, maybe you should. There, now I can finally swap you out for the sword familiar. Yeah, 3D sword with an angry face. I think Death's second forms in Castlevania are some of the most interesting and creative. Because they're often just ridiculous and out there. Wall green tea. Well, of course Walgreens has tea. No, I'll hold on to axe. This should be teleporter. Yep. Sword, your accuracy is way off, but you know what? You do you. Ah, Alucard sword. Now we're getting the good stuff. Although that's not as powerful as Glamdring. He's trying his best. Yeah. This might be a moment where his best isn't good enough. But I believe if you equip all of the Alucard stuff, you get some really nice stat buffs, boosts. I can't decide which one. Turn into equipable gears to stand in a specific room with infinite respawning octopods. Yeah, I figured he got more accurate as he leveled up. I'm not interested in making him broken right now. If we get the equipable sword from him, great. If not, fine. This game is not hard. Stay busts. Step busts. Stevedupuses. Roxy knows what's up. Getting tongue-tied. I'm so tight-tongued. Alucard sword has faster attack animations. Oh, okay. How do I activate the special attack? Hadouken? Shoryuken? Oh, there's so many bats! Down, down, left, plus attack. That's not the Konami code. Hey, Clutch, thank you. Thank you for the, continuing the gift sub from Squirrel. So, quarter circle forward to... Oh, down, down, left. Yeah, that's just Hadouken. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I got dunked. Need to have coins last mass, so this will have to suffice. Hey, I tell people, folks, this is a form of tithing. It goes to a Catholic nonprofit, so. My Twitch page reloaded, and I just heard you say, "Oh, thank you for the squirrel." Well, I thought it looked like a gift sub from Squirrel, which Squirrel is known to do. I've never seen someone resub from a gift sub, so that's like why it looked weird. It took my brain a moment to process. But, you know, thank you for the squirrel too. I like squirrels. They're cute. And their German name means oak croissant. Okay, we'll equip this. Well, that's an attack. I'm gonna stick with the Dark Blade. I don't know how you were supposed to find that out. A couple months ago, I had to talk with an older American couple on a train. They asked us if we had squirrels and then proceeded to call the squirrels tree rats. We don't have many squirrels. Okay. Note to self, Iberian Peninsula, few squirrels. These are the faintest blood skeletons I've ever seen. Blood skeleton? How do they have blood? They're skeletons. They still have varioproductive marrow. These graphics. Games are too realistic these days. There is a certain art that when you are more limited, you can work to make something look good. That can outshine something with more access to more graphical capability. That's why some folks are more creative, like Minecraft, for example. Like, I'm more creative in Minecraft when I don't have everything in my beck and call in creative mode, but actually limit myself to having to actually mine for the resources. Oh, this is bad, 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 this is bad. Everything's terrible. Oh, shoot, we're dead. Dang it. Missed. Missed, of course. Well, now that we know that it's just an elixir and a library card down that way, I don't feel like it's that pressing to go back. Something about the style of graphics in games like this, very appealing to look at. Yeah. So we can go the other way. I think there was another way, wasn't there? A mass without distribution of the Eucharist, but it has consecration is still a mass, right? Yep. The priest must receive both species in order for it to be valid. But there is no requirement that anyone else receive. Well, at least they're very susceptible to being hit. At least those blood skeletons were red. Yeah, they had the decency to be the correct color. They got their job description from Dracula, and they're like, ah, okay, I got you. Necklace of J. Who's J? Is that supposed to be Necklace of Jesus? Is that who the J is? I genuinely don't know. Oh, are these blood skeletons even trying anymore? Come on, these ones are green. Jay is Dracula's intern? Oh, of course, right. What was I thinking? Then tell Jay to come and collect his necklace from the upside-down catacomb. Vulcan blood skeletons. Ah. I don't know. I feel like Dracula would work with Romulans, not Vulcans. Hey, Squirrel Itch! We're just talking about you. Thank you for the gift sub to Young Blake. Thank you, Twitch, for letting me know I can point farm. Ayy. Actually, it's from the translator of the game, Jeremy Blaustein. As references Sun Jin. Aw, that's sweet. Oh, we were Clutch continued his sub that you gave him previously. Nope. Nope. Actually, you know what? Sure. Let's show you this boss. This is like the hardest boss in the game. Galamoth. Ow. Ow. I think the secret tech is get behind his legs. With a name like Galamoth, you have to be tough or risk getting laughed out of the castle. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, can you imagine being named Galamoth and, like, you're the weakest dude in the castle? Like, no one would let you live it down. So that's basically go in there and die room. Yeah. It's an entirely optional boss. That you can do it. I think you get some pretty good gear out of it. But you don't have to do it to get any of the Dracula's body parts. Yeah, Swoliel would take care of Galamoth in a moment, but Alucard is not Swoliel. Ow. Why do the frozen ladies mew like kittens when they die? You know, I tend to not ask questions about the death sounds in this game. I think that's just for the best. Okay, so we know to the left doesn't have anything other than a library card. So I guess we can go back out and keep going to the right, or we can teleport out and work our way there. Yeah, let's teleport out. Why they made ice spirits canonically trans, I don't know. Well, I don't know. The sound had to be like Skylabite for devs. Having fun isn't hard if you've got a library card. I can be transported to a whole nother world. Or I can go and buy things from my dad's servant. That's what your library card does, right? Feels like the sword keeps starting to stab you. Well, if it does, I'll stab it right back. The shopkeep is Dracula's servant? That's sketchy. He's not the shopkeeper. He's just, you know, he's the librarian. He just happens to have a shop on the side because, you know, everyone needs a hobby. It's his side hustle. Yeah, you gotta respect the hustle. Does that mean he's a millennial? A pun in Japanese for a creature in this game. I'm shocked. Shocked, I say. Well, not really. He's a millennial, but 1,000. He's a different kind of millennial. He's literally a millennium old. Random religious question. Do we know how long it takes between death and receiving our judgment? Instant 3 days unknown? Yeah, so there are the different kinds of judgments, as Map Hack mentions. There's personal and final. Final, obviously, end of the world. Personal, it's held as being at the moment of death, but exactly what is the moment of death and what does that mean is actually a surprisingly complicated thing. But yeah, generally, we hold personal judgment as happening when you have definitively died. Luminous. And obviously exactly what personal judgment looks like, we don't know, because no one's come back to give a personal account of it. Have I ever played Hollow Knight? I have not. I've thought about it. It might come up at some point. Might just play it in my free time. What about Messenger? I've seen you playing that, and it does look cute. Where am I trying to go? That's where I'm trying to go. Okay. Why am I getting so much lag? Like, if this was a PS1, I might understand it, but this is running on a PS4. Put up against pair ogres. One only trains arms, the other only trains legs. But if you ask if they like ice cream, they both have to say yes. Boss fight. The creature. Most accurate name this thing has ever had in any media. Ow. That was easy. Is that Duke Nukem? Yeah. Yeah, he really had a... Oh, to the flat. Look at that. We already have 3 of the 5 pieces. You know, Duke Nukem really had a very sad career after 3D. Would it be more accurate to call it the monster? Is that what it was called? Or no, it's the creature. Yeah, I guess maybe the monster would be more accurate. I don't know. Both are... At least it wasn't called Frankenstein. Paranthropus. That one just gets a scientific name. Wait, that just loops around. Yeah, what a game it was. You'll have to check the messenger out sometime. Yeah, but what did Duke Nukem between in those 20 years? Truly, it was a game of all time. Okay, so we could, I guess, stay towards the bottom edge and go to the right. Ow, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't see those things hiding. The Geiger counter noise keeps making me think that something has gone wrong at work. Especially bad if you called in sick. Hey, Nana Kit. I take it you landed safely? Oh, yeah, no, I'm just ignoring all of you guys. No. And here you can get whichever sub-weapon you want. Scroll just redeemed emote only. Let those emotes flow. I need to find someone who's good at animating, because I know I have the glitch emote, but I'd like to make that one animated. Anyway, yeah, that leads to another area. So why don't we just open up this really quickly? Oh, I thought that would do it. I guess not. Ha 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 ha! Oh, there's so many Swoliels. I would not want to fight that many Swoliels. Gorgon! Ow! Ow! Stop it! Who has the Elmo Fire emote? Ah, CGN. I think that's actually going to be a perfect place to call it for today. Saving right there, because I really need to go use the restroom, and, you know, life happens. But thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, Mel, you joined just as we're wrapping up. Booth, there we go, brain. But anyway, yeah, thanks for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Lupus got you today? Ooh, well, I hope you're feel better. Want to see if emote chat was automatic? I'm too lazy to do that. I will try to have fun at the dentist. But yeah, thanks for stopping on by. Join us again on Monday for more RPG Monday. We're going to keep doing 358 over 2 days, Spirituality Tuesday, more Kings of Israel, and Retro Throwback Thursday next week, as it's going to officially be. We're going to try and wrap this up. I believe in us. What was I going to say? Oh, also, not next week, but the week after, midweek Minecraft is going to be a thing, Wednesdays 2 to 4, so that'll be a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone for liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good jazz, gifting some subs, rating, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And I hope everyone has a great 4th of July if you're celebrating. And if you're not, well, I hope you have a good Thursday anyway. And I hope you have a great weekend. So take care, and let's see who's live to raid. Gonna send you over to Broseph Lacask. It's his birthday apparently, so go in there and wish him a happy birthday. He's a cool space knight from the future. So wish him a happy birthday, and again, I hope everyone has a great 4th and a great weekend. So take care and God bless.